Now, Diddy's day one trial recap, he went something like this in their opening statement. He did this. No, he didn't do this. He do this. He do it with consent. He went something like that. And day two, Cassie just came in and dropped a bomb that Diddy likes happy ending on his nipples and said the more serious stuff about the things she went through throughout their freak offs. And I let it breathe a little bit. I haven't been following up with the case, but I just spent the last 4 hours going through day 3, 4, and 5, the days that we missed, and we're gonna go through them together. It got very interesting because it was a defense turn on day 4 and 5 to shoot back at Cassie and the prosecution team. It was a roller coaster of emotions. Diddy 1 minute wanted to kiss them and baby all the shit out of them. The second minute he wanted to fire them because they were pulling Timu lawyer activities. Day 3 was still the prosecution's turn. Cassie testified that Diddy even asked her to do a freak off on her 29th birthday, pulling her outside a karaoke bar and using a security guard to take her to the freak off by force. She also told the jury that Diddy gets physically violent with her at the freak offs too, sometimes in presence of the male escorts they hired. She said the escorts would ask her how she was doing after Diddy putting hands on her. And she says violence happens just way too frequently. Cassie testified that Diddy always pulled his signature move. She's been blackmailed on materials on her, namely videos from her freak offs. She says that she felt like she was trapped. She testified that Diddy uses the freak off footage, blackmailing towards anything and everything, and this is what hurt her and made her fearful, and that's why she felt like trapped. Cassie also told the jury that in June of 2013 they were at a commercial flight to New York, and she told Diddy she didn't want to do a freak off. And that's when she said that Diddy sat right next to me, opened up his laptop, and threatened to release them. I said this in the last video, Diddy had a lot more to lose than her. He would have exposed himself as well because she would have had nothing to lose and goes towards. But it was most probably fear, allegedly, that took place. We still don't know who was who. Obviously, this whole thing is allegedly still. There's no footage of the whole thing as well, as it's a federal court. But thanks to the heroic journalists over here, they camp overnight like the new Yeezy or iPhones dropping, quickly rush to the line the second they announce the court is open because there's very limited capacity inside the court. Quickly reported comeback. She testified it made her feel trapped, and when the prosecution asked her why did she go along with the freak offs, Cassie said, to make him not threaten me. Now they came with more details about the freak offs, more baby oil, the more Diddy did this, Diddy did that. I covered the most important parts. I want to jump into the defense when it was their turn on Thursday and Friday where they had to defend the Diddy. First defense attorney came and asked Cassie to read a text message she sent to Diddy many years ago. Cassie read it out loud. I love you, smiley face. I'll fly you anywhere. I love you, Cass. The defense came with screenshot where one message said Cassie told Diddy, I'm always ready to freak off. It can be whenever. The text came from a BlackBerry message to Diddy on August 5th, 2009, about 2 years into their relationship. So the defense has said Diddy's alleged victims, including Cassie, were willing participants in their freak offs. Everything was consensual. Until it wasn't. Even Cassie admitted at the beginning of the relationships that it was all loving. Then the violence, the threats, the blackmailing and all came along. This is what we're here for. But they're building it up. I trust the process. And let's see what they're going to cook. We'll get there. The jurors were shown text messages Cassie sent to Diddy on March 10th, 2016, 5 days after the hotel video incident, saying, when you get up the wrong way, you always want to show me that you have the power and you knock me around. I'm not a rag doll, I'm someone's child, she said. Keep in mind, this is the defense showing the text messages between them. So they're planning on cooking something, but then they say this. Jurors have seen and heard a bunch of communications between Diddy and Cassie from their decade-long relationship, including messages where Cassie seemed to show excitement for freak-offs. The defense released a conversation between them in April of 2010, where she said she wanted to discuss something, and Diddy asked, what is it? She said, about the freak-offs. Diddy got offended. Now you don't want to do it anymore. Just tell me. I already know. You're so predictable. Cassie is like, oh, really? Okay. Since I'm so predictable, have a good night. Diddy said, whatever, baby. I'm not going to play no games with you, and you ain't gonna keep shutting me down. Cassie said, I'm not shutting you down. I never do. If anything, it's always the other way around. She said, I wasn't going to say I didn't want to do it anymore. They're showing messages from the past. Look, she said in 2010, she wasn't going to say she doesn't want to do any free cops. So it was consensual. Case closed. Diddy, your money was well spent. No, you donkeys. Now, I don't want to judge it too fast. Maybe they are actually cooking something, building something to plot twist it in the middle and waiting for the prosecution to play their cards first so they can counter it. In that case, they're holding like their big cards in this, like with their evidence and shit, because there's still like 5 to 6 more weeks for the whole trial to go. So this doesn't make any sense yet. I don't know what they're cooking over here. They're literally going in circles because the prosecution and Cassie already said in her testimony that, hey, at the beginning it was fine with me. I was alright with it. Then later on, it was when things got a little bit too extreme. Then I was blackmailed. Then I was threatened to do this whole thing, which the charges for racketeering and trafficking. Cassie said in court on Thursday, saying she doesn't have any hate in her heart for Diddy. She actually has love for the past. Now on Thursday, one of Diddy's attorneys straight up asked Cassie if, she hates Diddy. Cassie replied by saying, I don't hate him. The attorney asked, do you still have love for him? She replied, I have love for the past and what it was. If I was a defense attorney, I would go and sit down after this. Now, I don't know who introduced this defense strategy, but they need to forget about the lifetime supply of baby oil from Diddy. At this point, whoever introduced this, Diddy's going to take those baby oils and he's going to use it on them for this I was going to create a word right there. Idiocy. For their donkeyness. Or for all we know, it was actually Diddy himself who forced this. Just like he forced everyone to put happy endings on his nipples. Defense told them no, but he forced them because he's paying them. I don't exactly know, but this was just stupid. Diddy's defense attorney, Anna, seems like she's trying to imply that Cassie believed his alleged 2018 without consent may have been related to bipolar disorder. So the issue was brought up yesterday in court where Diddy's defense attorney was asking Cassie about what she told the investigators about Diddy's allegedly, her in 2018 after they had a conversation at dinner about breaking up. So for a little bit of background, they broke up in October of 2018 and they had their breakup dinner. And according to Cassie, according to her testimony, she said in court that this is the part where Diddy was acting all nice, took me back to his home and forced himself on me. Diddy's defense attorney asked Cassie what she told the investigators, and Cassie said Diddy was acting nice but strangely at dinner and wasn't in his right mind, because when she asked him to stop, he did not respond. Then Diddy's attorney asked Cassie straight up if she told the feds his behavior that night could be attributed to his bipolar disorder. Cassie responded, I guess so. Or maybe he was a controlling psychopath who just got his heart broken and it was too hard for him to let go. Just an idea. Oh, he had bipolar? Why didn't you say so from the beginning? Case excused. Now, it's very obvious what they said from the beginning, and what they're trying to do right now is bring all this bipolar, bring all this mental capacity thing to try to shift the racketeering and trafficking to SA. They even admitted to the hotel beating because they have no other choice. There's literally a 15-minute unedited version of it there, so everyone knows it. So they're trying to, okay, since we can't ditch everything, let's go with the one with the least sentence. Because if he gets convicted for the racketeering and trafficking, that is life in prison. No more baby oil parties, only with guys in prison inside the shower, or later on when you can set up the candles and do you. But it's only a matter of time before he gets tired of two men chakalaka boom booming in front of him and then putting happy endings on his nipples. That is no way to live. Now, Diddy's mentioned bipolar disorder before in an old interview with Playboy. He shared how he went to therapy after breaking up with Jennifer Lopez. But Diddy told the magazine, I've been called bipolar before. I'm not. I just have a very drastic mood swings. It is safe to say they should forget about their baby oil gifts. The only thing they'll be getting is millions of dollars and being shouted at by Diddy for not doing the research. Like, what in the Timu lawyers is this? Now, it looks like the defense is showcasing its card with the evidence that they have. They brought text messages from Diddy and Cassie. After Cassie testified the last time Diddy and her, did the deed, it was at 27 September 2018. After Cassie alleged that Diddy touched her without her consent. And the next day, she told him she had a great time with him. This is where it gets complicated. We're gonna talk about these text messages in a bit. Let me just finish this up. A couple of weeks later, in October, a month later, Diddy told Cassie he was going to fall back, but she could call him when she needed him. And Cassie responded in part, "I'm lost without you." These were all text messages printed out and being shown in court. In one text, Diddy tells Cassie she is his ride or die and one of the greatest women in the world. Cassie replied to Diddy that the message blew my mind a bit, and she told him, "I don't hate you, I never have." Now, according to the reports, these are the messages throughout 2018. Last time they saw each other was November of 2018 after Kim Porter's death. Diddy's soulmate, and it's being reported, even though the last time they saw each other was November of 2018, they still talked through 2019 and 2020. 2019, that's when, she met the current husband right now. And meanwhile, they were together. She was still talking to Diddy. In one message, it says, "I wouldn't be at the beautiful point in my life if I hadn't been with you." This is big, I would say. This is the defense just coming in strong and talking their big cards. They're making big moves right now, showing that, hey, this is all because of you. I'm where I am. The life experiences you taught me, it's because of you. Everything I have is because of you. Now, there's something called Stockholm Syndrome. It's a coping mechanism to captive or abusive situation. People develop positive feelings towards their captors or abusers over time. This condition applies to situations including abuse, relationships, and trafficking. Now, I'm not going to touch this subject because I don't have enough knowledge about it. I don't understand it, why it's like that. I've never experienced it. But this is how I think the prosecutions are gonna go. Something that blew up the court a little bit yesterday as well was when Cassie revealed that she is expecting to receive $10 million settlement from the hotel that she was beaten. So when the beating happened afterwards, one of the security guards came up to Cassie and asked her, "Are you okay?" The guy's name was Israel Flores. He was a security guard at the hotel. He witnessed the assault on Cassie and said when he arrived at the scene of the attack, he escorted Diddy back to his room and asked Cassie if she wanted him to call the police. Flores testified that Cassie said, "No, I just want to leave," without pressing charges or notifying the authorities. Now, here's the mistake that cost the hotel $10 million. Even though it is a mistake, I don't blame him. He filed an incident report that seemingly omitted important details of the assault. Now, even though he filed an incident report and took a video from the surveillance footage with his phone and showed the other staff members, no one called the police on this incident. Now, according to the reports, this got everyone gasping and having a conversation like, "What is happening?" And the judge went, "Order!" Why did she reveal this lawsuit, and why did she say she's getting a $10 million settlement out of this whole thing after the security guard testified and said, "You said no. I asked, she said no." How should the security guard know that she's being blackmailed? You get my point? Like, at the time, she said, "No, don't call the police because, if the police comes, if the police gets involved, then there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be exposed about her and her career, would be over." And now everything that's in open air, everyone knows about the free cuffs and all of that and, Cassie's involvement. Now is the time she goes and says, "Hey, an incident report wasn't enough. You should have called the police in the first place. Anyways, I want $100 million. No? Okay, I'll agree to 10. This is very, very bad for her. And I'm sure they're going to take advantage of this and use it to defend Diddy and saying she was just a blood-hungry, fame-hungry woman who was, with him. Everything was, "What the fuck is that spider?" He did it again! I plead not guilty. Self-defense. Anyways, back to the story. My point is, Security guard didn't know anything about it. I think they just settled for the sake of settling, but this is just gonna... The fuck is... And advantage they took. They grilled Cassie inside the court, saying she is in fact a money-hungry donkey who canceled her tour for 2024 and 2023 because of her civil lawsuit against Diddy, saying she no longer needed to perform shows for income because she had just received $20 million. If you didn't know, there was a lawsuit in 2023 and Diddy settled for $20 million. I think I covered this like 6 months ago, but just an FYI. But Cassie came and said, objection, I canceled my tour because the legal process was just overwhelming and I wanted to spend time with my children. This is the part where prosecution said, objection, Your Honor. I would like to ask our star witness over here something. If it would mean you would have erased your past and never participated in freak offs, would you give this $20 million back? She said, quote unquote, if I never had to do freak offs, I would have had agency and autonomy. She started tearing up and said, I wouldn't have had to work so hard to get it back. Prosecutors asked Cassie what Diddy did on the flight home from France, and she testified saying Diddy played her a video of her doing it with an escort. The feds asked Cassie what Diddy said he would do, and she testified he told her he would release the tape. Prosecutors then asked Cassie what Diddy asked for when they landed in New York, and she said that Diddy asked for a freak off or he would release the footage. Prosecutors asked what concern Cassie had about saying no to the freak off. She cited her safety, her career, and her love. The last one over here is a very powerful play in the prosecution team. It means they know what they're doing and they're not afraid. Diddy should be afraid. This is when you know the prosecution is definitely going to use the Stockholm syndrome. After she said this, Cassie also told the jury that she would give back the $20 million settlement from her lawsuit with Diddy if it meant she would get her agency back. But these were the important parts. Defense is very weak right now. They're trying their hardest coming in with evidence. Doesn't look like the prosecution is trying so hard because they already have a very strong case against Diddy. Diddy's team is struggling for the time being unless they pull a miracle out of their ass. But the prosecution is... I think they're sitting on the big reveal. There's gonna be a day in the next 5 to 6 weeks where they're gonna take the internet by storm and all you see is Diddy reports, Diddy reports. Diddy destroyed, Diddy serving 5,000 years in jail or something. I think they're sitting on something big and it's gonna blow everyone's mind. I look forward to it. That's all I have for you today. This video is getting way too long and I'm getting tired of yapping. Anyways, you take it easy. I'll keep you updated if anything big happens.